asked my family to not come to my wedding because I can't afford it.
Maybe you shouldn't have a wedding then if you can't afford the wedding.
That's also true. That's possible. Made a throwaway because my main account is a super recognizable username. I, 35 female, am set to marry my fiance, Lawrence, 33 male, this year after a 6-year engagement. Woo! You guys are very sure now.
Hey, take your time.
By the way, this comes from Delorious on the OK Storytime subreddit. So important facts are, A, I was previously married to my university boyfriend for 6 years, but divorced because his mental health was so bad I was pushing myself into depression trying to stop him from going off the deep end. B, when I met Lawrence in an MMO, we were living in different countries, but we met up and fell in love. So I decided to move to his country. C, we thought of getting married before, but every year something happened and we had to shelve the thought. 2 times I changed jobs. 1 time, COVID. 1 time he changed jobs. 1 time his family had a health crisis and we had to make lifestyle adjustments. And D, my parents at first were apprehensive about Lawrence, especially as they had only met him for the first time right before I moved, but they've since warmed up to him and enjoy interacting with his family on Facebook. You know, everything's
That's
perfect.
very sweet. Yeah, you just have some bumps in the road and
who doesn't have a couple bumps on the road?
that makes the marriage even better at the destination.
Yeah. This year, me and Lawrence are moving ahead with our wedding at full speed. Not much is concrete yet, but it's a December wedding and it'll be a very small affair. We have plenty of time to plan. Normally, the bride's family would pay, but since my parents are not well off and they already paid for half of my first wedding, I'm not expecting them to contribute, and Lawrence's parents are not well off either, so we're paying for it all ourselves. Luckily, we have a good amount of disposable income, so we won't have to get in debt paying for it all. Only our nearest and dearest will be there. Lawrence has his parents, his sister Deanna, and brother-in-law Frank, and their 2 little boys, both under 12. We're also inviting Frank's parents because they are genuinely nice people who have helped us out, especially Frank's mom, Layla, who's going wedding dress shopping with me, Deanna, and mom-in-law, Mary. I'd have my parents and 2 siblings there. My concern is that neither my parents or my siblings are well off. I have 2 siblings, Bradley, 34 male, and Alphonse, 28 male. Both have ASD and are in social employment where they basically have a job doing piecework for stores and are subsidized by the government. My dad is 66 and retired, and my mom is 64 and on disability after a work accident. I am not privy to the details of their finances, but I know from previous discussions that a €500 car repair bill was a shocking amount. Naturally, when I let them know our wedding date, my mom started planning travel and hotel costs. I looked up the cost for 2 rooms for them at hotels close by, and my heart just sank. Added to the fact that I have traveled 2 times in the past year to visit them, and each time the plane tickets were 200 plus euros for just me, even if they go to a budget chain, think Holiday Inn Express, it'll still cost them well over 2,000 euros, not the local currency, but converted. All in all, travel, lodgings, not to mention new clothes for the wedding, travel documents, visa applications. I really worry about how they'll afford it. I have mentioned from the beginning that I don't insist on their presence, that me and Lawrence are more than happy to travel to visit them after the wedding, to celebrate with them in their hometown. But I'm worried that they will feel obligated to be here for the wedding itself. My parents would put themselves into overdraft with the bank to make it here to see me marry the man who truly makes me happy. Oh. And while it warms my heart to know how much they love me, I love them in turn and don't want them to scrimp and scrape to make it to witness my wedding. This is lovely. This is so sad, but like, I love that clearly OP is just very, very thoughtful.
And understanding.
Yeah. I don't want my parents to, put themselves into debt to come to my wedding. And on the other hand, we have the parents who clearly just love their daughter so much. And she knows that they'll do it.
It's just so much love. It's just great. But now comes the monetary funds.
If I could contribute to help them with the costs, I would. But Lawrence and I can't afford to support their travel while also paying for the wedding. We're lucky we both want a small, simple wedding, so it won't cost too much. But I'm also realistic about the hidden costs we may encounter, things we forgot to budget for, etc. If I were to tell my parents and siblings that I would prefer them not to come and that we'll visit them after the wedding to celebrate our wedding with them in my home country, we'd bring our wedding photos and videos if we decide to get a videographer. We'd go for a dinner in a nice restaurant with them, and I'd offer them a framed print of their favorite picture of our wedding to hang up if they want. Would that make me an a-hole? And there is an update. But that is kind of what I was going to suggest.
That's like the best thing you could do that's not breaking the bank.
My parents, some of you may know, my mom is from Australia, but when she and my dad got married, because obviously it would have been a destination wedding for one side of the family, they decided to have, I think, the wedding ceremony in America.
Okay.
And then the reception in Australia. And
Or
so
vice
then
versa.
both families were able to attend one part of it. And, you know.
I think that's the best thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like OP is communicating, one,
Yeah.
her feelings, which is great, and two, like, okay, if this doesn't work, this is the plan.
Yes.
And
which I think is the way to go.
I think hopefully what I'm scared of is the family is going to be like, oh, no, we want to come and make it, or like it's going to get into a debacle. I hope not.
I hope there's no debacle.
But we're going to find out.
Update. I got some excellent advice here telling me that ultimately my parents and siblings should make their own choices, which is also a fair point.
Yes.
And I should just indicate that I would be happy for them to be here, but just as happy to support their presence in the wedding in alternative ways, live streaming the ceremony and visiting them for a celebration with them afterwards. And I just want to share the situation worked itself out.
Okay, great.
Amazing. My mom rang me a couple of days ago, and after some small talk about wedding preparations and small things going on in her life, she's losing hair again. Ugh, honestly, F cancer and chemo. No worries, she's being followed up so tightly her OBGYN knows what she has for breakfast before the first bite. She's very careful and in her soothing mum way told me that it's as good as certain that my brothers won't make it to the wedding. Oldest bro, Bradley, 34 male, has never been far outside his comfort zone. And with his ASD, he's just not mentally resilient enough to A, travel on a plane, B, travel abroad, C, stay in a hotel, D, eat different food, E, meet a ton of new people, F, while dressed up in uncomfortable clothes, and G, while his sister's not able to spend a lot of time with him. Me and my brothers, due to our ASD, are really close, so don't come at me or my brother. We have a habit of doing our own little things to soothe each other, but obviously we can't do that at my wedding. And because Bradley has a history of going hungry next to a full pantry, not because he can't make the food or doesn't want to, but because he will literally forget to eat, my younger brother, Alphonse, 28 male, will stay at home with him. By the way, you can stay with us by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Just tap our profile. There is a little bit left, but I think it seems like they're sorting it out.
This seems like there's no pressure,
Yeah.
which is the best thing. There's no stress.
Exactly.
Everyone's understanding, like, hey, if we did come, it's going to be stressful. We don't want to do that for you. It's your day. Just come over here when you guys can, and we'll celebrate then and there. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Or do the live stream. I love that.
The live stream is also
This is
lovely
like
idea.
so... there's no stress. I'm not worried. I'm not freaking out. This is great.
No, I like sometimes when our Reddit stories, the stress is circumstantial, not because of the horrible people in it.
No,
There's no
exactly.
horrible people in
This
there.
just seems like this is well communicated and everyone's very understanding. Wow, you don't get those very often here, and that's great.
Not on
It's a
our
breath of
Reddit.
fresh air here.
My mom and dad will still come, but this way my brothers can support them with the costs of travel, etc. It essentially halves the cost. My brothers will happily sit and watch a live stream of the wedding, and they're honestly not fussed about the celebrations because it's just food and music. So all worked itself out just as you guys predicted. Thank you all for your advice, and that is the end of that story.
Awesome.